Star Wars fans, brace yourselves. Amy Adams might be stepping in as Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker's mysterious wife, and there are rumors that Luke's own son could be at the center of the next big saga. But here's the kicker, Rey might be the one training him. Yes, you heard that right. Secrets, shocking reveals, and a galaxy of twists. This isn't just another Star Wars story. Stick around, because what we're about to break down could change everything you thought you knew about the franchise. Star Wars is back on the big screen, this time with Starfighter directed by Shawn Levy, the mind behind the thing. Fans are buzzing with anticipation. But should they be? Picture this, Amy Adams potentially stepping in as Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker's wife, with the story somehow centering on RY. It's a bold continuation of the sequel trilogy and also serves as Kathleen Kennedy's final farewell, packing a lot into one cinematic journey. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we break down the latest Star Wars developments. Truthfully, Jonas, we've been waiting years for some genuinely uplifting news, and the saga still has its ups and downs. The Mandalorian's recent chapters haven't exactly wowed audiences, and if you were hoping Starfighter would be the franchise's redemption, that might be optimistic. Still, we encourage fans to hit that like button, drop their thoughts in the comments, and share their take on how this galaxy far, far away continues to unfold. The hype is real, and now's the perfect time to hit that button. Jonas, how's it going? I'm doing well, thanks. And for everyone watching, if you've got that like button ready, now's the way to show some love. Let's dive in. Back in late August, Variety reported that Amy Adams had officially joined Star Wars, Starfighter. That's big news, and it makes sense. She's the right age and the perfect redhead to bring a certain character to life. We've been treading carefully with our reporting, making sure not to spread misinformation, but fans know exactly who we're hinting at. One character that has long captured the imagination of many in the Star Wars universe. Fans have long hoped to see Mara Jade on the big screen, and in the Star Wars books, she's known as Luke Skywalker's wife. Whether the films will keep her in that role is still unclear. They might take a different direction. But leaks from Starfighter are starting to surface, and our sources suggest they are credible. That said, we're still in rumor territory since the movie is a work in progress. Studios could always pivot if fans react negatively. According to what we're hearing, Starfighter's plot involves Ryan Gosling protecting the child of a female Jedi, who is widely believed to be Mara Jade. And if that's true, Jonas, it raises a huge question. Whose son are we talking about? The speculation is heating up, and fans are buzzing with possibilities. So the name Flynn Grey came up, and at first glance, it almost sounds like a Star Wars character. Maybe Flynn Jade? But no, Flynn Grey is actually the actor cast to play the son of the female Jedi. That detail has big implications. If this child is indeed Mara Jade's, then he would be a Skywalker, Luke Skywalker's own son. That could potentially change a few things from the ending of Rise of Skywalker, reshaping some of the story threads fans thought they understood. It's small details like this that have the Star Wars universe buzzing with speculation and excitement. If Amy Adams is indeed playing Mara Jade, which we now strongly suspect, there's a chance the filmmakers could adjust her role. A fan backlash might be strong enough that they simply label her as one of many surviving female Jedi from Order 66, following Anakin's purge, rather than explicitly tying her to Luke. But here's the kicker. Josh from Den of Nerds, who rarely spreads rumors lightly, confirms that the story is real. According to him, Mara Jade's mission in Starfighter involves escorting a Force-sensitive child to Rey. That's right, if it's truly Mara Jade leading this mission. The film centers on protecting and delivering the child, adding an intriguing new layer to the Star Wars saga. So, the Force-sensitive child we've been talking about, the son of a female Jedi, is actually Luke Skywalker's own kid. We believe this is Kathleen Kennedy's major move, having Luke's son delivered to Rey, technically a Palpatine but now carrying the Skywalker legacy, for training. And yes, Jonas, I hear the groans, but it's not terrible. It's just that the Star Wars galaxy, once so vast and expansive, now often feels like it's revisiting the same small corner with familiar characters and planets. Don't get me wrong, Luke Skywalker is Star Wars, and it's fine to have side stories without him. But even The Mandalorian, which initially didn't feature Luke, eventually brought him in, and now fans can't stop asking, when is Luke Skywalker going to appear again? Well, Jonas, here's the thing. Finally, Starfighter has a movie centered on Ryan Gosling, one of Hollywood's few bankable stars whose presence alone can draw audiences. He's charismatic, likable, and capable of carrying a story. Yet, instead of using this opportunity to explore something entirely new within the Star Wars universe, The filmmakers are returning once again to familiar territory. Back to Luke Skywalker. From what we've pieced together, even Josh might not fully realize that the story likely revolves around Luke's son. If that's the case, this film is shaping up to be a significant addition to the saga, blending legacy characters with new narratives, and keeping fans deeply invested in the galaxy far, far away. Folks, we might be among the first to lay this out, but honestly, it's not that hard to connect. If Amy Adams is playing Mara Jade, she's tasked with taking her son somewhere, the implications become clear pretty quickly. It's not rocket science. Of course, things could still change. Studios always pivot if fan reaction is strong. If this video gains traction, other outlets like Echo Base Network or Overlord DVD might cover it, and if the response isn't favorable, the story could shift. Meanwhile, as Kathleen Kennedy prepares to exit, the studio tried to build a Rey-centered movie but ran into obstacles. The director they hired for that project couldn't quite deliver the vision they needed, so now the focus has shifted once again, weaving familiar characters and legacies back into the forefront of the saga. Sorry, Ode, but it looks like Rey is being shoehorned into Starfighter. Sean Levi doesn't seem to be making the movie he envisioned. He's been handed a mandate to include Rey in the story. So now, instead of following Luke, the focus shifts to Rey, echoing The Force Awakens all over again. But this time, it's Rey guiding Luke's child. Luke himself won't train his own son. Rey will. This feels like Kathleen Kennedy's final move, leaving her mark on the saga. Despite criticism of the sequel trilogy and lukewarm reactions to Rey-centered projects, she's positioning Rey to train Luke's offspring, reshaping the legacy and stirring the Star Wars universe in a very deliberate way. According to Kathleen Kennedy, Palpatine is set to train Luke's child. Yes, you read that right. Jonas, you really can't make this up. The story is venturing into territory even we couldn't have imagined, testing the patience of longtime Star Wars fans. If Mara Jade is central to this arc, yet ends up needing someone else to deliver her child to Luke's apprentice, it raises questions about her agency. Almost as if she exists only to serve the plot or, worse, to meet a tragic end. I wouldn't be surprised if the movie begins with Mara Jade having sole custody of the child because Luke was deemed too dangerous. After all, he tried to kill a nephew and proved an unsafe parent. If it starts that way, honestly, I'd see it coming. And then, almost unintentionally, this storyline ends up praising Rey, who, outside of a few off-screen moments, hasn't actually trained anyone. I get it, it mirrors Return of the Jedi with Luke, but it's not the same. Luke had consistent guidance, whereas Rey has never demonstrated serious training skills, aside from Luke's sarcastic remarks in The Last Jedi. The less we dwell on that movie, the better. Still, it feels like the saga keeps circling the same ideas. They claim they want something new, yet they are too hesitant to actually take risks. So the plan seems clear. Rey gets her own series of movies, tasked with training Luke's son, and who knows, maybe he'll even flirt with the dark side. Josh from Den of Nerds confirms this. And just to be clear, Josh doesn't spread rumors lightly. When he reports, he has credible sources backing it up. Josh isn't explicitly saying the child is Luke's son. He's only confirming the other details, but we're connecting the dots because Amy Adams was indeed cast as Mara Jade, something we hadn't formally reported before. Sure, plans could change, but Josh admits he's both surprised and somewhat in disbelief. He notes that Rey has been positioned as the centerpiece of Star Wars content for years, though not everyone behind the scenes agrees it's the best idea. Dave Filoni, for example, isn't thrilled since it isn't his character and he prefers focusing on Ahsoka. What shocks Josh the most is that the entire Starfighter plot seems like a setup to bring this new Force-sensitive character to Rey. And that's precisely the problem. It feels forced. Sean Levi almost certainly didn't envision this story as a Rey setup. It's a corporate move designed to prop up and fix the character they created, rather than an organic, natural narrative. This whole plan seems designed as a bridge from the sequel trilogy to future movies. Sean Levy's film could still turn out great, but Star Wars deserves more than this recycled approach. Jonas, it's even worse. They genuinely believe that having Rey train Luke's son will somehow fix the franchise, convincing old fans to forgive past missteps because at least Luke's kid is there. That's their strategy. Instead, Rey risks being turned into the Pedro Pascal of the Star Wars universe, a major supporting figure meant to carry the story without real depth. To be clear, nobody dislikes Daisy Ridley, and occasionally she says things that seem Hollywood-approved and maybe slightly misaligned with fan expectations, but that's beside the point. The real issue is that the saga is being steered more by corporate strategy than by organic storytelling, and fans can feel it. Sure, Rey can get on fans' nerves from time to time, but Daisy Ridley has handled herself admirably. There's nothing inherently wrong with the character, it's just that there isn't a lot of depth to her arc. And to be clear, this isn't a knock on the actors. Daisy Ridley is wonderful, so is Amy Adams, and Pedro Pascal aside, they are all talented. Fun side note, Aaron Pierre, cast as the child, happens to be the son of one of the actors from Mystic Knights of Tur Na Nog, a detail some longtime fans might recognize. Jonas, did you know that organically, or did you look it up before we filmed? Because if you cheated, I'll know. Oh no, Jonas, I didn't look that up, I actually knew it before we started filming. I even downloaded Mystic Knights of Tur Na Nog from a platform just because I'm that much of a nerd. That's why we have you here, the investigative reporter at work. There really was someone with the last name Pierre on that show who looks a lot like Aaron Pierre. But putting my trivia aside for a moment, I truly hope Lucasfilm builds something bigger, something with real staying power. That's what fans want to see. They've developed a habit of killing off major characters, and while everything we've discussed so far is rumor and speculation, this next part is just me being playful. If Mara Jade ends up walking across a bridge in the third act, I'm walking out of the theater. I just won't be able to handle it. Kathleen, this is too much, even for us. At this point we're talking about an adult Mara Jade, post-sequel trilogy, with Luke Skywalker already gone. In this version of the story, Luke's dead, Force dysentery and all, and Mara Jade is left alone with a son we never knew existed while Luke was hiding out on that distant planet. The retcon practically writes itself. Luke wasn't a hermit because he'd lost his way, he was a hermit because he had to protect his child, making sure no one ever found him. And now that secret son is being delivered to Rey. You can almost hear the scene now. Who are you? My name is JJ. And you are the man who killed my franchise. Folks, that's where we'll leave it for today. Happy Monday, everyone. I'm sorry to kick off your week with this, but credit where it's due, they are trying. They figured fans would, so instead, they are giving us his son. But wow, what a twist. Luke's son being trained by Rey? She'll essentially be a darling Yoda. Alright, folks, don't forget to click the like button, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Drop your thoughts in the comments and, if you find the hype button, now's the perfect time to hit it. Jonas J. Campbell is over at thatparkplace.com and involved in everything we do here. He's the producer extraordinaire of The Pro Show. The show goes live Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you tune in. The Pro Show streams not just on Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, but also on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Eastern, giving fans plenty of opportunities to tune in, catch the latest commentary, and stay up to date on all things Star Wars and pop culture. For those who might be new here, Jonas, our co-host and resident expert, always has a way of breaking down the news with insight, humor, and just enough skepticism to keep things interesting. Before we let everyone go today, we always like to check in and see if Jonas has any final thoughts to leave our audience with. And as he often says in his uniquely sarcastic and slightly ominous way, this is the way to frustration, the way to anger, the way to the dark side. And yes, sometimes, the way to losing money or even putting a franchise at risk. It's a tongue-in-cheek warning, of course, but it captures the reality of how high the stakes can be when studios make decisions that affect beloved properties like Star Wars. Star Wars is not just a series of movies, it's a cultural phenomenon, a shared universe with decades of lore, characters, and fan expectations. And when decisions are made in the boardrooms of Hollywood, the ripple effect can be enormous. It's easy for fans to feel frustrated, especially when storylines take unexpected turns or when beloved characters don't receive the arcs many hoped for. This is precisely why shows like The Pro Show exist, to help viewers make sense of the chaos, offer context, and sometimes vent a little about the choices that keep the galaxy far, far away, both fascinating and, at times, infuriating. But while frustration and critique are part of the experience, The Pro Show also reminds fans that it's possible, and important, to keep perspective. Enjoy the content, discuss it, engage with it critically, but above all, have fun. That's what Star Wars was always meant to inspire: excitement, wonder, and imagination. As we wrap up each episode, Jonas often reminds viewers that Star Wars continues to evolve, and no matter how chaotic things may seem, the franchise is far from dead. It's very much alive, and in some ways, still haunting the halls of Disney+. New series, films, and projects continue to emerge, some thrilling, some controversial, but all contributing to the ongoing story of this ever-expanding universe. And it's in this context that we encourage viewers to stay connected, not just for the breaking news and commentary, but to witness the ongoing journey of a franchise that has captivated millions worldwide for decades. For those looking to dive even deeper, a real Halloween treat, or really, any day of the year, would be checking out WDW Pro and his daily videos. These videos provide another layer of insight, often going behind the scenes, analyzing trends, and offering thoughtful critique that complements what we discuss here. Whether you're a longtime Star Wars aficionado or a newcomer trying to catch up, engaging with content like WDW Pro and the Pro Show allows fans to experience the franchise on multiple levels. You don't just watch the stories unfold, you analyze them, debate them, and sometimes even predict what might come next. It's a way to be part of the Star Wars universe even beyond the screen. Of course, all of this assumes that you're subscribed and actively following along. Hitting that notification bell isn't just a convenience, it's a way to ensure you never miss a beat, a element for fans with every development, every rumor, and every officially confirmed story. There's a sense of immediacy in following these shows live, participating in discussions in real time, and feeling connected to the broader community of Star Wars enthusiasts. And yes, the fandom itself can be passionate, vocal, and sometimes critical. But that's part of what makes the community vibrant. Engaging with it thoughtfully, whether by watching, commenting, or sharing content, is a way to deepen your appreciation for a universe that has inspired generations. And while we're on the topic of engagement, it's worth noting that Star Wars continues to be a learning experience in many ways. Following the franchise teaches fans about storytelling, character development, world building, and even the business side of entertainment. Observing how decisions are made, how new characters are introduced, and how legacy characters are handled provides a unique lens into the complexities of modern filmmaking. The Pro Show emphasizes these lessons, reminding viewers that while it's fun to critique and joke about missteps, there's also value in understanding the craft behind the galaxy far, far away. Ultimately, the message of today's show, and indeed every episode, is to keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun. Star Wars has its highs and lows, triumphs and missteps, but through it all, it continues to spark imagination and conversation. Don't blame the hosts, don't get lost in frustration alone, and definitely don't stop being curious about the stories unfolding in a galaxy far, far away. Whether it's speculating about new projects, analyzing character arcs, or simply celebrating the moments that made us fall in love with the franchise in the first place, there's always something to engage with. So, as we sign off, remember, the Pro Show streams multiple times each week. Jonas and the team are always bringing insight and entertainment to the table, and Star Wars itself remains an enduring force in popular culture. Hit that like button, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and don't miss out on the ongoing adventure. I'm the ghost of Star Wars, here to guide you through the triumphs, the controversies, and yes, the occasional chaos of the saga. And while Star Wars may not be dead, it's definitely alive, haunting Disney+, inspiring fans, and ensuring that the Force, in all its forms, remains a part of our lives.